Hello everyone, I'm Dick Wolf. We have a special today for this Buzz Moment. I'm with Christine Hopkins. Christine is the Executive Director of the Middle Tennessee Rural Reentry Program. That's a lot of words there, but what is the Rural Reentry Program?
Well, it's a program designed to reduce recidivism in our local jail. The reason it's called Middle Tennessee Rural Reentry because we started out, we were the first rural reentry program in Tennessee in July of 2007, so we've been going for 9 years now. We started out as Franklin County Reentry, Community Reentry, and in 2014 we changed our name because we were also serving other counties as well, some of the surrounding counties. We had received a grant to the tune of $1.2 million, and that allowed us to reach out to other counties. Those grants have since ended, but we're certainly in the process of, I have applied for new grants for our neighboring counties and plan to hopefully move again into those other counties and help them.
So you actually have a lot of experience in this field. You retired for 4 months, you said, and then you just got right back into it. What did you do when you worked at the state?
Well, I was state director of the Tennessee rehab centers across the state. We worked with people with disabilities. It was still rehabilitation, and I retired in 2000. And I stayed retired for 4 months, and then I went to Marion County and worked there and ran a rehab center there. But in 2007, when Sheriff Fuller mentioned that locking people up and throwing away the key was not the answer, that the answer lies in the rehabilitation of that individual, I just happened to be in the audience and couldn't wait to get to him to let him find out if he, number one, was he serious, and two, was he interested in starting a rehabilitation program for the jail. And of course his answer was yes. We started looking for dollars to make that happen, and we were able to achieve that through the Office of Criminal Justice out of Nashville that started us off.
Yeah, that sounds like a great program. Why don't you tell us sort of what we're looking at here in this room. This, by the way, we're at the annex to the Franklin County Jail, and it's just past the jail if you want to know where it is in your head. And so this is where inmates can safely come here.
Yes.
And do what?
Yes. Well, this is very unique. This particular program, it was one of 4 grants in the nation to teach technology skill training for the inmates. Prior to that, we actually had the employers of several different companies in here and sat down at the table with them and asked them that if we could write a grant and obtain this grant, what would they want it to be at? And they said injection molding, because a lot of our companies in this area are injection molding companies. We're sitting right in the hub of an automotive industry, and the suppliers are out there. So we wanted to make sure that we were training them in something that we knew the jobs were there. And that's how we wrote a particular grant, Introduction to Manufacturing / Injection Molding.
And so they learn those skills here. You have a scanning machine of some kind over there. Would you tell us how that's used in this?
Well, it's several ways. First of all, there's about 6 full weeks of what we call RUDAS training. It's fairly new to the injection molding. It's a very intense program. There's a test after each unit. There's several units to that program. And after each session is completed on the computers, they go and take a test, and it says pass or fail. And they, at the end of the RUDAS training, they take a full test that's about 175 questions. It is post-secondary college training. We're partnering with the Tennessee College of Applied Technology out of Pulaski. It is their curriculum, and the instructor, James Cantrell, is the instructor actually for that college.
And you've got you've been involved in some of this training for a while. You've got something coming up on Friday. Tell us about that.
Well, it's their graduation because they will be at the end of each session. They are the third session this year to receive this training. It's 10 weeks long. It's 364 hours of injection molding introduction to manufacturing. And you ask about the machine. The rudest training is certainly not all of it. We have a CNC machine that we bought a long time ago. And that machine, it has so many hours on it. We teach that in order that they will have some introduction to manufacturing training as well. We also teach basic electricity. I believe it's 10 hours that they have on that. And then, of course, the small machines are your injection molding machines. You will see on the board.
This is one of them, or?
Yes, that will actually mold.
How do you select inmates, or how do inmates qualify for this program?
Well, they first of all, there need to be considered medium to high risk, and that is not to crime. That is medium to high risk to recidivate. As you probably already know, the jail will average approximately 80% of recidivism.
Yes.
That's high. That's 8 out of every 10 people are going to come back at some point. Our recidivism rate will run anywhere from 25% to 35%. When you look at the difference because of programming, that is huge.
It is
because it means that if they can obtain the training, or they can obtain what we're doing, working with them on, then that is, their chances of returning are certainly less. We do a lot of extra things in addition to all of the injection molding, but this is 35 hours a week. That means that 7 hours a day, they're actually receiving this training. We do job readiness. We do where we're doing everything from how to dress for an interview to how to fill out an application appropriately, how to write a resume. We're doing all those things in job readiness that an employer has said for years that when somebody comes to interview, we also do mock interviewing. We also teach them how to maintain that job, because it's not hard to obtain a job. It's harder to keep it. And we want them to have those longevity jobs that they can stay for a while, because a lot of them have 3 months here and 6 months, and then they're on to another job. That is not what we're trying to teach. As far as our training is concerned, our employers are saying we're even above where they would like to see us is what we teach. They feel that the material is very strong. And they've been coming in and actually providing speaking and motivational speaking and talking to them about what they expect, and actually getting them placed. If they want a job, we're having zero problems.
There's room, I'm counting 8 computers and 8 stations here.
Yes.
Are there more inmates than that you would like to see in this training and can't because of space?
Right. I'd love to say I'd love to serve the whole jail. And let me tell you why I said that. The sheriff and I, along with a couple of our staff members, went with us to Sullivan County, New Hampshire, to look at a program where everybody is served. And that jail has 21% recidivism. You know, because we are dislocated from the jail, where we couldn't serve them if we wanted to. Of course, our space is small, and 8 is about all we can have at a time. But then when that 10 weeks is up, then we get another 8. We already have them chosen before the class ever starts. In fact, next Tuesday, we'll have 1 day to clean the computers up and get ready for the next class, and we will start next Tuesday. But some of the other things that I wanted to tell you that we provide is BJA, Bureau of Justice Assistance, wants us to do more recognition therapy or some sort of cognitive behavior And that's the MRT, we call it, moral recognition therapy, is the cognitive behavior that we do. And what it is, it's all about choices. We work with them. Our instructor, Michelle Perkins, talks to them about the choices you make, that's going to be the consequences. And she tries to teach them, if they're in a situation and they need to make a choice, what will you do? And it's one of the better things we do, in addition to the training, and that's certainly not to de-emphasize the training, but it's getting inside of the head. It's changing that criminogenic thinking into making wise choices. And of course, we do parenting. Eric Van Zandt from Campora comes on Fridays and does and he'll be starting back because school is starting back. But he comes every Friday and provides a parenting class. There's several things we do. And we also do testing. The screening and assessment is very important. You asked me about what they have to have in order to be eligible. We want them to be medium to high risk to recidivate, and that is certainly to recidivate. They need to have their GED or their high school diploma. And the evaluation we do tests their aptitude. So we want to make sure that their aptitude is as close to average as possible. That doesn't mean if they have a below average aptitude they couldn't do this class, but it's hard. So these guys that we currently have, they have already passed the huge test that they have to take, and that aptitude needs to be to where it's college level.
I heard you use the word guys. So I gather this is gender specific and women don't count?
No.
Okay.
We do have both.
Oh, okay.
The time before we had a group of women. In fact, class 2 was a group of women. Class 1 was men, class 2 was women, class 3 is men. But unfortunately, the women, if they're not sentenced, we can't bring them out and actually offer this training. And that's one of the problems. Of course, hopefully when we get our new addition, we'll be able to train them inside of the jail, whether they're sentenced or not sentenced. In fact, we're hoping to work with a group of people that's not sentenced.
So we came to visit you this morning to talk about this program, but we're going to have another story, and I don't know whether we'll break and then go to that story or not. But tell us about the career coach, and is this something we're going to visit in a few minutes?
Yes. The career coach is provided by the Department of Labor. They, when we first came here, the career coach was just kind of starting up, and we were one of the first jails that they visited. In fact, they came 2 or 3 times, and Michelle Perkins, our case manager, was able to get them to come back today. What they're doing is they're working with the guys on their job readiness, making sure that we're doing everything possible. And it's just double looking, making sure that those resumes, making sure they're registered for tn.gov, making sure their name is out there for employment.
Let's take a little break right now, and when we come back, we will be at the career coach and talking with Christine some more, and possibly with the people from the state that are here to work with our inmates. We'll be right back.
When it comes to furniture, appliances, electronics, and yard equipment, start with a company you can trust. Badcock Home Furniture and More in Winchester has spent years faithfully serving their community and their customers. Badcock Furniture has always been ahead of the rest when it comes to brand name furniture, appliances, and electronics. That's why Badcock is the best.
Whatever your shipping needs, Mr. Postman is where you want to go. Convenient across from the post office in Winchester. Take your packages or bring the item unpacked and they'll carefully box it and send it off for safe delivery. Anywhere. Yes, in or out of the USA, Mr. Postman can get it there quickly. There's more. Get a box number with a street address. Start a background check with safe and secure fingerprinting. Oh, wait, forgot that card to go with that present? Not a problem. A good selection of cards, funny, faithful, and family. Mr. Postman, across from the post office, Winchester.
Got old junk you need to get rid of? Bring it down to Steel Salvage. Get the most out of your scrap metal. We buy and sell almost everything. Come to our location at 504 4th Avenue Southwest in Winchester or give us a call at 931-308-5013.
Well, we're back with Christine Hopkins, Executive Director of the Middle Tennessee Rural Reentry Program. We were talking with you earlier about this career coach that's outside, and I want you to talk about that in a minute. But while Michael was changing the locations, you talked about one of the years that you had where you graduated 250 from these classes. And tell us about that and what the results were.
Well, it was the last grants that we had, and it ended in December of 2015. For those particular grants, we had placed 250 out of the 404 people we had served. Those 200, and it was amazing the amount of return on the investment, because that 250, actually, when you sat down and you multiplied their weekly wages times 52 weeks, you came up with an annual salary for all 250 of over $5 million. That is huge.
That is huge.
Because those grants, they totaled $1.2 million. We were in Warren County, we were in Coffee County, we spent 6 months in Grundy County, and we were here in Franklin County. If you multiply that, if that 250 people were still in jail, it would have cost almost another $5 million. That's $10 million. So the investment, the return on the dollar investment is huge.
That's a darn good. That's a better return than Wall Street.
Well, now of course the money doesn't come back to to the program or anybody, but it does come back to the person, who in turn can pay their taxes, pay their fines, buy their food. So it's a huge
and a car.
Right, a home and a car. It's a huge investment, not only to them and their families, but to the community at large. Anyone employed is going to return dollars when they are employed. And I do feel like that reentry pays. It pays in many ways. So I'm hoping that when we get the new addition to the jail, we can start serving more people. More people will go to work and not return, because the daily cost to house an inmate is high.
How do the companies respond to hiring somebody that was in jail?
It's amazing. They don't respond any different. Most of the companies that hire our folks, and there's very few that doesn't, because most of them do, they respond just like any other employee. In fact, we've had them say, "You sent us one of our best." Our companies are really literally begging for employees that know what they're doing. And our guys have a lot of skills. Some of them have very high aptitudes, and they can do anything. When you watch them put up the stage for the Dogwood Festival, when you watch them just cleaning up litter, they work very hard. They paint a lot of our government buildings. They save this county a lot of money. They can do almost anything.
We talk, and it's absolutely right to talk about on the money part. Boy, it's $1.2 million grant, but we get back $10 million in lower jail costs and then wages for these people. But what's the human result of this? What changes in an inmate that had a future of jail after jail after jail when all of a sudden they have opportunity in a job?
Well, I don't want to get emotional with you.
Well, go ahead.
But, after we work with them, at first they don't seem to be any different in their attitude. But after we work with them a while, you can almost see them change right before your eyes. They, first of all, I think they realize that we can be their support system. If they feel that they're going to get in trouble, we ask them to call us. Our case manager, Michelle Perkins, does an excellent job in making contact with these folks. And they ring her phone all the time, a lot of times, when there's some little something out there that's maybe going to wind them up back here. We're making sure that they do go to work. We're making sure that they have a way to work. Even though we don't provide transportation, there's means of transportation through the senior citizens bus and different ways that they can get there. We want to make sure they have shelter over their heads. The humanistic side cannot be measured in dollars and cents. It never has and it never will. Because when they change, their children are going, they're just watching them. Children of incarcerated parents are more likely to be incarcerated themselves. And when Eric Van Zandt talks to them about their, in their parenting class, about their children, and letting their actions speak for themselves, you see sometimes the tears in their eyes, and you see that change come forward. I've asked them on several occasions, and I love talking to them. And I ask them several times, what are we doing right? Because I want to know what we're doing right. If we're providing a class that shouldn't be taught, I don't want it taught. But if we're doing something right, and the number one thing that they always say to me, it's because you care.
It's that simple.
It's that simple. Because you care. And they know we care. And they know that we can be their support system.
It sounds awesome. You must, no wonder you're not retired. You seem to enjoy what you're doing.
Well, and I'm certainly not young. For the people in this community that know me, know I'm not. But that doesn't mean that you can't still produce. And no, I enjoy my job. My staff, Dale Hatcher, who's my assistant director. Dale is a retired engineer. He's been with me a long time. He loves to work too. And Michelle Perkins has been with me now 5 or 6 years. She's an excellent case manager. Lisa Pennington from Huntland is our IT systems person. Very committed to her profession. She knows computers inside and out, things that I do not know, even though I am learning. She's taught me a lot. James Cantrell is our instructor from the TCAT, from the Tennessee College of Applied Technology. James lives in this community, but he really works for the college out of Pulaski. And if and when we so fortunate to obtain our own technology college here in Franklin County, I'm looking forward to the day that these guys can even go further, because it's kind of unheard of for college training to be taught in jails. But if you look at the volumes and the numbers of people throughout this country that are just sitting in jails and prisons doing nothing, doesn't it make good sense to use that time wisely and teach them something?
I'm not going to go any further than that. I want to thank you, Christine, for revealing to us this program that's going on. And I want to thank you for watching. I'm Dick Wolf for the Buzz.